Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Network Merchandise Shop. Check out our large assortment of logo merch and our lifestyle collection as well. Just head over to abvnetwork.com and click on shop. We are also sponsored by The Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers a fully customizable carrying case that allows you to take your favorite distilled spirits or cocktail ingredients with you. Whether you're looking for yourself, a customized gift, or logo items for your business or event, The Bar to Go can help. Check them out at thebar2go.com. Use the number 2 when you type out The Bar to Go. Did you know Neely Family Distillery now ships its popular distilled spirits directly to you? To order, simply call 859-394-3258. Tell them the ABV Network sent you. And now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we complete a bourbon bracket challenge to definitively answer the question as to whether or not Lenny could win a cage match tournament against any other distiller. My name is McNew. Please join me in welcoming my co-host, Steve Akeley, along with our special guests, Lenny Eckstein, Tim Fosnot, and Dana the Dreamer 6.
Hey, gang, what's up?
How we doing?
Hey, so yeah, we've got a fun show today. We're going to put Lenny to the test. Can he survive this? I mean, he's got home field advantage, I feel. He's the reigning champ. He's the guy who said he can do it. I think we're rooting for him in some odd way, but we're going to talk through these. I'm going to kind of, as we go through our list today, which we'll get to after the break, I'll get a little bit to the merits as to why they're on the list. I think I picked the most competitive 8 that are out there. Now, I can't say I know every distiller in the country, so there may be somebody out there that could even, top this list. We don't know. But if you know someone, let us know, and we'd like to talk to them, and maybe if there's a rematch at some point, they could be in the mix. But for right now, Jim said there's something he wanted to talk about. What is that, Jim?
So I've been doing some organizing in my house there, and I came across a bunch of photos, and I have some god-awful photos of myself when I was younger. What was the worst kind of fashion stage you were in? What was like the first, back in your, teens, 20s, whatever? What was the worst kind of fashion statement thing that you were into that, Steve and I might apply to more just from our age? I could go back farther, but everybody has something they're ashamed of that they used to kind of dress like, or hairstyles or whatever else.
Yeah. I'll say the worst thing that I ever did was I had a mullet like many of us in the 80s did. So long hair in the back, business in the front, whatever you want to say. But there was a stage, at least in St. Louis. I don't know if this was everywhere or not, but everybody got perms on the party in the back part. So, you have this long mullet, and then you get it permed, and then it has this crazy look that, we thought was cool at the time. It's cringeworthy now seeing those photos. So yes, that would be the worst of what I had.
They're coming back in style, though.
The permed ones, or just
where they're curly in the back. I've seen so many lately. Yeah.
I've probably seen my photos, and they're like, "Man, I'd like to be like that guy." Look at that flowing hair, the grace. Cool. Yeah. Lenny, how about you?
I would say mine was definitely hair too. I think. Of course, Farrah Fawcett was already doing the feathering, but when I was in middle school, like 2 days before picture day, my mom's like, "Well, we need to get you a fresh cut." And so my bangs probably went back to here so they could feather. And I feel like I look like one of the monkeys, whatever, when they had that hard bowl cut. And I have the school picture to prove it. And that's why to this day, you will not see me with bangs, because those bangs went
traumatizing. She's like, no, never again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Lenny, how about you, man?
I think it might have been the late 80s when skateboarding had its peak at the time. And, hair was like, I don't even know how to describe that. I'm sure you could picture, but I wouldn't call them bangs, but the front of your hair just swooped down really far.
Oh, yeah. You had that.
There was that. A lot of baggy clothing, really ugly sneakers that went along with skateboarding at the time. Pretty piss poor fashion sense and style. I'm glad that kind of went away after a couple years, but that was probably my low point.
You've landed on a look now that you didn't always have, even when you've been part of the ABV network, this plaid look where it's flannel in the winter, but plaid shirts that kind of look like they do flannel. You're in that all the time. I've never seen you out of that other than when you make a point of it one time in Key West to show us that you had something else. But yeah, anytime you're podcasting now, you're in a shirt like you have on right now.
Not in the summer.
Yes, you have a short sleeve versions of what you're wearing right now. You absolutely do. Okay, Heidi. Yes. Yeah, you absolutely have short sleeve plaid shirts that that you wear in summertime.
It gets warm enough. I take them off and just wear the t-shirt underneath.
Oh, there you go. McNew, would you like that if he wore just a t-shirt from underneath? No, she's saying that.
I'll revive my late 80s style.
All right, McNew goes through, this happens, she goes through, changes her look a couple times a year. So what's been the worst fashion look that you think you've had?
Oh, man, I'm going to say 12 or 13-year-old me had like a semi-goth phase where it was just very, very heavy, dark makeup. And like I still like a lot of eyeliner, but I'm talking like just blacked out eyelids. It was bad. And like, I don't know if you guys remember like those little ball chains. They were just silver fucking balls that everybody wore in like the late 90s, early 2000s. They just looked dirty. Was definitely into those. Like definitely a little dirty kid goth phase. I don't know what that was about, but I was into it. I think I made my mom destroy all those pictures, though. I don't think they exist anymore.
Those don't even exist, huh? They've been purged.
No, it was bad. It was real bad. And then it was just foundation that doesn't match. Like, I don't know, when you're 12 and like learning how to do your face, you fuck it up a lot. It's not good.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? All right. Well, Jim, you asked the question. What was your worst look?
Well, Steve, much like you, the late 80s, early 90s. So I was rocking the mullet, but I took it to another level. I played football. Back then, I was in pretty damn good shape for my life. And so I was all in a football. So not only did I have the mullet, but I had lines shaved in the side of my head. And then I had them dyed green and gold to match my school colors. And then on the weekends, not only that, I would rock the Z Cavaricis from MC Hammer at the clubs, you know. So that's when I came across some picture with me with my freaking mullet dyed and Z Cavaricis on, and I was like, Jesus Christ, how did I ever?
Man, hammer time! It's hammer time.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Interesting. So there you go. There's our worst looks. Please post photos of those. We'll talk to McNew's mom, see if she can dig some more, save some. Yeah.
I hope she got rid of most of them.
No. We want to see that. So, all right. Guess what, gang? It is time to drink. What is everyone drinking? Let's start with McNew. McNew, what do you got?
I have some Cooper's Craft 100 proof.
Wow. Impressive. That's going to be tough to beat. Jim, what do you got?
I'm going to go with about a half full bottle of Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond.
Okay. Nice base. Not enough to get the victory. I've got some Old Monroe here. This is the Distillers Select. This is some straight bourbon whiskey. It's known as Wheat Intarnation. So here we go. Also, not bad. Not a bad showing. Respectful, but not going to be enough to knock off McNew. McNew still has the lead. Lenny, you're next.
I've got about half a bottle left of Your Hammer's 4-grain bourbon. This is what is this? This is one of the blends that we're working through. This is blend A.
Okay.
This isn't the one we picked, but I did enjoy this one. So
okay.
Four barrels, I think. Oldest being 4.5, youngest being 2.5 years.
Okay. No. Interesting sounding, but not enough to take the lead. Dana, the Dreamer 6, you're the last one. You are between McNew and Victory. What do you got?
Well, I don't have a lot of hope because I have a very well-loved bottle of Angel's Envy here. So, yeah.
Okay. The slosh going on there. Light cork pop. Not enough. So clearly McNew is the winner there. So congrats, McNew. And cheers, gang. All right. We'll take a quick break. And then when we come back, it's Lenny time. So we'll do that in just a few. Hello, this is Steve Akeley of the ABV Network. Let's talk about the people who make this show happen. First up is Leatherwood Distillery in Pleasant View, Tennessee. Company founder Andy Lang started distilling as a hobby while serving his country as an elite Green Beret. Andy distilled all over the world during his time in the military and brought this passion back to him in the U.S. when he returned home. A visit to Leatherwood combines Andy Lang's unique distilled spirits and a museum of artifacts from his time serving the U.S. Share a drink with a fallen soldier at their bar where you can grab an acrylic bio off the wall that celebrates the individuals who gave the ultimate sacrifice to protect his or her country. They will also ship their distilled spirits directly to you, so check them out at leatherwooddistillery.com. Hi, this is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network. We're sponsored by the Stave and Thief Society. This is where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge a bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my Executive Bourbon Steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification program available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Okay, let's talk about Neely Family Distillery. In 2018, I met Royce Neely at an industry event. He started appearing on our shows, and we became friends during my frequent visits to Kentucky. Today, he's leading the way for young distillers making their mark on the bourbon industry. A visit to Neely Family Distillery combines family history, a look at what makes their products unique, and of course a tasting through their whiskeys, moonshines, and creams. Check them out at neelyfamilydistillery.com and visit them in Sparta, Kentucky.
Saying Bourbon Daily?
Yeah.
Okay, you're listening to Bourbon Daily.
No, your name first.
My name.
You are. Yeah.
Hi, this is Jason Souter.
And?
And you're listening to Bourbon Daily.
Perfect.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we have a bracket challenge of if Winnie can win can win the
Winnie.
match.
Yeah. What would your dress be for this, Lenny? What kind of costume would you wear? Would it have the flannel? It almost has to have the flannel look, right?
Plaid singlet. It's got to be a plaid singlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, maybe, I don't know, maybe singlet, maybe just board shorts, I don't know.
Board shorts and a plaid shirt. I think
Maybe traditional, like kimono style.
Okay. All right. Well, here's our contenders. So Lenny is our champion. So he's in this thing. He is the reigning champ. He's the guy to beat. The next one is Dimitri Kane. So he's from St. Louis area. He owns a company called Nobleton's Distilling. And you might have your work cut out for you with this guy. He is a big dude. He's 6'5". He's jacked. He's a farmer. He's done that his whole life. He has farm boy strength. He likes to talk about. He played college football. At that time, he was a much bigger guy. He bulked up to be an offensive lineman. Weighed about 350, so 6'5", 350. He's probably. It's hard for me to judge what someone weighs that's really fit. So he's not, but he probably weighs more than I think because he's muscle bound. So let's say 6'5", 275. But that's very fit, lean specimen. I would say he is. He's not. There's no fat on that guy. Next up is Royce Neely. We're talking cage match here. Not very many rules. You got to give him a fighter's chance. I mean. Royce Neely is going to go in and he's going to do eyes. He's going to work the nut stuff, whatever he has to do to get a victory. There's no doubt that Royce Neely is going in for it. So, yeah. David Weglar is also a pretty big guy. I think, Dave, what do you think he is? 6'4", somewhere in there? I mean, he's a big guy. He's fit, a little bit dad bod though. He's not jacked like Dimitri Kane, but big dude for sure.
For me.
Yeah. Next up is a fellow Colorado distiller, Todd Leopold, also a huge man. Big guy. He's got to look. I know he'd come in his coveralls. He's not going to change his look even for this type of thing. So, interesting. Next up, also another big guy, Freddie No. Slimmed down a lot. I saw him. He slimmed down. He was really kind of a big guy, and then he slimmed down a lot. Now he slimmed down even more. So maybe that gives you a chance. He's.
I like how you're referring to big in either big like a lot of muscle mass or big like eats way too much, but you say
Either can be used to
I'm
your
not saying
advantage if
Freddie
you know what to
knows
do with
too
it.
much. I'm just
You know,
saying.
a guy like Todd Leopold isn't muscle bound, but he's a big guy. If he was very adept at throwing that weight around in the right way, he could be really a challenge. Is he though? I don't know. That's what we're going to be talking about today.
It doesn't work that way, Steve.
In a cage, sure it does. Sure it does. It can. It
It
can.
doesn't.
Well, I don't know. You got to watch the MMA. So sometimes it's surprising, some of those big guys, and it's also surprising when you see them fall too. So yeah, you just never know. Next up is a guy, not necessarily a big guy here, but he was all-state linebacker in Kentucky. I mean, football player, Harlan Wheatley. So, and he's kind of, he's got old man strength, I'd say. So that's someone to look out for. Next one is a guy not much taller than you, Lenny, and probably built even more slight than you. But he's a Green Beret, and I would say I would list him under the badass category, and that's Andy Lang of Leatherwood Distillery. So that's your competition. I just wanted to give the audience, in case they didn't know any of these people, a little bit about them. The matchups, again, drawn at random. Here's what it looks like. Harlan Wheatley versus Todd Leopold. This is kind of the old guy round. We'll see. One of our old guys is going to get eliminated right away. Then we got Lenny versus Freddie No. So there you go. There's going to be your first matchup, Lenny. You can be thinking about that. Then you've got Andy Lang versus Royce Neely. Classic matchup there. And then finally, David Weglars versus Dimitri Kane, the St. Louis matchup, if you will. So round number one.
Wait, real quick, before we get to round one, Steve, you were talking about eye gouging and nut shots. Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, I mean, it's a cage match. Anything
That was
goes,
never
man.
the challenge I put out.
Hey, when you're in that cage,
This isn't cockfighting. Like,
when you're in that cage, anything kind of goes, man. You could say, well, you can't do that. Well, there's ways to do things that you can't do. It's like,
what if Royce brings a gun?
There's no gun. I mean, there's going to be a pat down.
Apparently, yeah. That's off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Lenny's just mad that you'd have a round where he's against Gary first from Woodhead.
Yeah, you want to take on Gary from Woodhead? Is that what you want, Lenny?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
How do you say that?
I think this is, this is a lot on the line. So you could say, oh, there's all these rules and all that stuff, and then you put Royce Neely in this match, and he's like, man, my reputation, personal reputation's on the line, my company's on the line. He's going to do whatever it takes at that point. Yeah. Well, I mean, anything goes. I mean, look at Mike Tyson. He's biting. He's losing a match. He starts biting a guy. So that stuff happens.
To be fair, you're better off going against Royce than Becca Sue. She'd kick your ass. She'd kick Royce's ass. So
yeah, this is true. So round number one, Harlan Wheatley takes on Todd Leopold. Dana the Dreamer 6, you are first. Who do you think's going to win this thing? Harlan Wheatley or Todd Leopold?
So I have only known one other Harlan in my entire life, and he was hands down my favorite person. So I'm definitely going to go with Harlan.
Harlan Sanders of Kentucky Fried Chicken was your favorite Harlan? He was Harlan, but it's close enough. Okay, so you're going Harlan Wheatley. He goes up 1-0. Lenny, you're next. Who do you think out of these two, Harlan Wheatley or Todd Leopold?
I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think Todd used to play ice hockey. I know he watches it. I don't know if he actually still plays or not.
I'm sure he played. Yeah, I mean, he's from Michigan. I mean, yeah.
I think there's a little more grit in those who came from hockey pedigree than football. I hate to say this, but kind of, maybe. I mean, there's more fighting, right?
There is more fighting, yeah. Well, for sure.
I think they're better athletes.
Right.
Okay. All right, Todd. All right, Jim, you're next. Harlan Wheatley or Todd Leopold?
I gotta jump on Lenny's bandwagon here. I'm gonna go with Todd. He's a big boy, and with his past, nothing against Harlan, but Harlan just seems more soft spoken and stuff nowadays. Like he just seems like he would be more mellow now, and I think Todd would just be out for blood still.
All right. McNew, what do you think? Harlan Wheatley or Todd Leopold?
I'm trying to picture both of them in my head, and I just think sheer size wise, Todd Leopold.
Todd Leopold. Yeah, you're going for the mountain approach.
Yeah.
Todd Leopold. Yeah, I think he could be a force. We'll see. And next up, dreams could end right here, right now. We'll see what happens. Lenny Eckstein versus Freddie No. Round number 2. Lenny, you're first. You get to weigh on this one first. Who do you think is going to win in the cage?
Well, when I go down this full list, there's a few folks that would give me trouble. And I'm not saying Freddie would give me no trouble, but I think he's been away for what he used to play football too, right?
He played football too.
Basketball, something like that. I think he's been away from the sport for a while. And, while I have too, I know I'm faster. I'm going to give myself the nod on this one.
All right. That means Lenny goes up 1-0. Jim, what do you think? Lenny or Freddie?
Lenny on this one. I think think Lenny's probably a little more physical fit at this point, and I think he could take him. It might take him a while to wear him out, but he could kind of rope-a-dope him and wear him out in the ring for a while there. But I think overall he would end up on top of this one.
Okay. McNew, here's where we're at. Lenny's up 2-0 over Freddie No. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not saying that I don't think Freddie can't fight. I think he could if he needed to, but I think he's so refined in a way where he's like, can I just donate money to your cause and not show up? I don't even think he wants to show up.
Can I just throw some money at this thing? Okay.
Yeah. Happy.
He doesn't want to have a bloody face when it's over. Like
he's like, I don't want to make us look bad, so I'm gonna gracefully bow out.
Okay, that means Lenny moves on. Next up is Andy Lang versus Royce Neely. I'll tell you what, the loser of this one might not be coming out of the cage. Might be just dead. We might need to send in a stretcher because this is going to be a fight. This is going to be the one to watch. I think out of round one, if it was pay-per-view and each one of these fights cost $99.95, the one that you're buying without even thinking is Andy versus Royce. Round three, Jim, you're first. Who do you think is going to win this thing, Andy or Royce?
Well, we just spent a day with Andy, and Royce was there. Andy is just one tough son of a bitch. Like, you know what he's doing with his free time this week? You know what he's doing with his free time? He freaking flew to Ukraine to pull kids out from behind enemy lines. Literally, that's what he's doing right now. We're doing this podcast. That guy is doing that. So, he's willing to die for kids he's never met in his life just because it's the right thing to do. I don't think anybody's beating his ass in a cage match.
Steve, I don't know why you even put him on there. He's blowing everyone out of the water. But anyway.
All right, that means Andy goes up 1-0. Round number 3. What do you think, McNew? Andy or Royce?
Yeah, I think Royce can hold his own, but this is going to be bloody and ugly. But I definitely think Andy.
Andy, okay. I'll say this. This is going to be I think the idea at this point is that Andy, because of his training, all that is going to dominate. And I think Royce, would surprise you. I do think that as this match starts, there's always this kind of little feeling out period. You're kind of circling around. And Royce is not waiting for anybody to take the first move. He's throwing that first punch. What does Andy do after he gets punched in the mouth? That's what the Mike Tyson thing was. Everyone has a game plan until they get punched in the mouth. What does Andy Lang do after he takes that first punch in the mouth? I don't know. He's been in this situation before. Training picks up, but again, when there's grappling and they're around and Royce flips him over to the side, twist the nuts, and Andy screams, "Hey, what kind of match is this?" And the referee's like, "I didn't say it. What are you gonna?" I don't know. I think it's much closer than anyone thinks. I think Andy comes out of it a very beat up man. I do think Andy wins and Andy moves on, but he's not happy about it. Andy's never the same after that fight. Let's say that. His life, it's always marked from the time before he fought Royce and the time after. So that's what I'd say. All right. Next up is David Weglars versus Dimitri Kane, our St. Louis matchup here. McNew, you're first. Who do you think is going to win this one?
So I'll be honest, I don't know either of these guys too well, and I don't know size-wise what they're looking like. Steve gave us a description, but I know Dimitri's grown up on a farm. He still farms. So I'm going with that farm kid strength and going Dimitri.
Yeah, I like Dave, and Dave cuts a presence when you see him. I know he's the favorite distiller of Dana's on here. If she got the vote for Dave, she'd vote for Dave. Let's say that. But I don't know that he's going to make it there because I say Dimitri, makes quick work of Dave, actually. I don't think this is a close one. Dana does get the vote here, though. So David Weglars or Dimitri Kane? Who do you think, Dana?
Well, while the name Dimitri Kane is totally badass, I got to go with my little Weglars.
Weglars, that means he gets a vote. He still has life. Lenny, what do you think? David Weglars or Dimitri Kane?
So the guy his family owns sugarcane farms, right?
They do, yeah.
So it's not only a badass name, but it's an applicable name to his family business. I actually need to talk to that dude about some sourcing of product for rum.
Oh yeah, he can help you out. He can help you out, man.
Yeah, but I don't buy into this. Like, I grew up on a farm, therefore have monstrous strength. I've been taking my kid to wrestling tournaments every Saturday. In fact, he's got one tomorrow. And we go down to the San Luis Valley where all of our grain at Deerhammer is grown. for the most part, all of it. And my kids smoking these farmer kids. Now, granted, they're only like 8 or 9,
Right.
but still, I'm just saying, like, I'm not seeing any farm kid strength that's stopping my kids. So by that logic, I don't really know Dave either, but I think Dave might win.
Okay. Dave has tied it back up. He's come roaring back. So, Jim, it's going to go to you. Round number 4. You do know both of these guys. What do you think? Who's going to win this thing? David Weglars or Dimitri Kane?
I love David. He had a storied history. He's been, very active in his life, but Demetrius is a freaking mountain. That boy is he's just a huge, huge man. I mean, Dave could go for the beard and try and, do something with the beard, but other than that, he wouldn't have a chance. I mean, it'd be like Demetrius holding his hand out and a little kid trying to swing at him. He's so freaking big. I'm going Demetrius.
All right. So here's what our final 4 looks like. You've got Todd Leopold will be taking on Lenny. Then you've got Andy Lang taking on Dimitri Kane. So that's our final 4. Round number 5. I'm going to kick this thing off. Round number 5. Todd Leopold versus Lenny. Again, for Todd to come out of this, he would really have to know how to play the weight. He'd have to use leverage. He'd have to make sure that he got Lenny on the ground and he got on top, and then forced to just exerted his will and his weight onto Lenny. That's the only chance that he's going to have, because he's much bigger, but much bigger also can fall harder. And I don't think he's got that. I think Lenny is quick, like he says. I think Lenny is actually going to win this one. And I'm not even sure he's going to be winded at the end of this one. He's going to be ready for the next fight after that. So I'm going to go Lenny in round number 5. Dana, what do you think? Todd Leopold or Lenny?
Us short people, we scrappy. I'm going to go with Lenny if this dude's big as you say. So definitely Lenny.
Okay. Lenny. All right, Lenny, here's where we're at. You're up 2-0. You can move on to the finals with your vote of yourself, or you can give Todd Leopold life in this thing.
Look, let's be real here. Todd doesn't have time for such ridiculousness. He would disqualify himself. He'd be like, I'm not doing this. What are you talking about? He's like, I will have a drink with you. It would never happen. But in a hypothetical world, do you remember that scene in Game of Thrones where that one guy it was almost like a gladiator type scenario?
What's the guy's name? Mountain?
Well, there was the Mountain, but I can't remember his opponent's name. But his opponent ran circles around him. He was beating him by all rights until the end, and the guy grabbed his head and imploded his head with his spare hands. Now, that is a plausible scenario if Todd decided to participate. But I think having that knowledge of how that could go down via Game of Thrones, I would avoid it. And I would just take the win by sheer movement and bobbing and weaving.
Lenny Eckstein will be in our finals, folks. He said he can win this thing, and he's going to find himself fighting for the championship, which is pretty good. Yeah. So no shame in getting to the finals. All right, Andy Lang versus Dimitri Kane, round number 6. Dana the Dreamer 6, you're first.
So Andy versus Dimitri.
Yeah.
So me with my no nonsense rationale. The name Andy is in one of my favorite cardio songs by Chill Bill. And he says, I don't know where the fuck Andy at. So I'm going to go with Andy.
Andy, based on solid reasoning, she goes with Andy. Yes. Lenny, what do you think? Andy or Dimitri? What do you think?
I mean, I don't know why you put Andy in this bracket. It doesn't make sense. He's going to wipe the floor with all of us. Dimitri included. I mean, and my last vote against Dimitri is only to get him out of the bracket. Because let's be real, the dude would probably mop the floor with me too. But I don't think anybody has a chance against Andy. No, he comes in with all the training. He actually does this.
He actually does this. All right. So Andy is up 2-0. Jim, what do you think? Andy or Dimitri?
Yeah, you got a guy who's done 3 or 4 tours in Iraq and a couple tours in Afghanistan. He has done this not in the ring, but in real life. Has had to do this for his life. And I mean, great guy, great whiskey, but Jesus Christ, he would scare the death out of me. So I don't know how you go anybody but Andy in this one here. And I'm kind of with you, Lenny. This is we should just call this from the beginning.
Okay. It's what are my chances of drinking Steve under the table? It's the same kind of thing.
Well, you don't know. So we got to play this thing out. Round number 7, Andy versus Lenny. So Andy and Lenny. The amazing thing is they both come from the same weight class, so there's no I'd say they're both pretty close in weight. So Lenny versus Andy, round number 7. Lenny, you're first.
Okay.
You get first crack at this thing.
I think Andy humors me for about 3 minutes, compliments me and says, "Hey, you were not full of shit. Like, you stand a chance, not against me, but everyone else." And then he turns it around and just demolishes me.
Okay. That means Andy is up 1-0. Jim, what do you think?
I think similar to what Lenny said. Andy would hang out in the ring for a while, and after a few minutes, he'd be like, you'd probably beat about, most of the guys that I killed in Iraq, but I'm going to kill you. And he'd just take him out right there. So Andy's going to win.
So Andy is up 2-0. McNew, here's where we're at. It's now on to you. You can either give Lenny a vote and life in this game, or you can end this thing right here, right now with a vote for Andy Lang.
This bracket ended up exactly the way it should have, because technically Lenny's beat everybody else in this bracket, but Andy will absolutely kick his ass. So all
right, that means Andy Lang is our champion. Wow. So I will say this. If I would have got to vote here, I would have said Lenny. I think Lenny has what it takes to win this thing. So if Lenny votes for himself, because he's just the type of person, because I always say, vote for yourself, go for the win. I vote for Lenny. So, and we'll still say McNew and Jim vote for Andy. Dana the Dreamer 6. This is hypothetical. It's over. This does not change the results. Andy is our champion. We do not change the results. But what were you thinking on this one, Dana? You're a wild card because last time you chose someone because of a song you like. If this gets tossed to you as the tiebreaker, who's winning this thing?
So my first question would have been, Lenny, do you ship to Tennessee?
Okay.
And then based off that would have been my answer.
I think he does. He does. Yes.
Yeah. And then my comment would be, well, how are you going to put Dana the Dreamer 6 in a round 7? I would go.
Now, Andy is in Tennessee. I don't know if that plays to you.
Yeah.
He's in Tennessee.
I can't play with my emotions like that.
So
you could go visit him this weekend, Dana. I mean, he might not be there, but his distillery is. You could go see Kaylee.
So,
damn, Lenny, look at how they disrespect you.
What would have been your final vote here?
I catch it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, y'all hit me hard with what Andy's doing. So I think even if Lenny's gonna vote for Andy, like, I mean, out of respect, I would.
No, not in this scenario. And
he didn't.
Lenny voted for himself. He said, "Absolutely, this guy. I respect what he's done for the military, but this is a little bit different. This is not his training." Is good, but this is different. Okay.
1,000%. I would have went with Lenny because I straight up voted for myself.
Lenny could be our champion. He cost himself there.
In the alternate universe, you would have been champion, Lenny.
Yeah. In an alternate universe, it's like a Tarantino movie. You would have been champion. In Tarantino's world, you're champion of this thing.
Yeah. So I'll wear that belt proudly.
This is like when they used to make like DVDs with an alternate ending. Just put in the second disc.
charge $10 extra. Yeah. It comes with second alternate ending.
Forces guy, and let's see what happens.
Yeah. No, that's interesting stuff. So there you go, Lenny. It's over. Are you going to quit talking about this now, or?
I mean, I quit talking about it a long time ago.
Steve, are you going to stop talking about it now?
I guess I got to say Andy is the guy now. So yeah, maybe we'll all talk about that. Andy be like, what? He does, he's not going to know. He's a sponsor of this show, though. I will say so. That's
going to be like you are all idiots.
We'll get every other military master distiller then coming after Andy. You're gonna have
Yeah. So there you go. Andy is our champion. So congratulations to Andy. You're the winner. So yeah, they won it fair and square. So there you go. Dana the Dreamer.
Second place, Lenny.
Well, second place. Second place is first last place is what it is. Yeah. Dana, where can people find you?
You can find me as Dana the Dreamer 6 on both Instagram and Twitter.
All right, Lenny.
You can find myself and the rest of Deer Hammer on social media at Deer Hammer, on the web at deerhammer.com, where you can also order all of our bottles shipped direct to your door, including Tennessee. You can come visit us in beautiful Buena Vista, Colorado, where I'll be licking my wounds.
There you go. Jim, how about you?
You can find me on Facebook at Jim Fazan or on Instagram at FazJim, FAZZJIM.
All right, McNew.
I am on Instagram at McNew ABV.
All right. For me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akeley on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website. That thing's abvnetwork.com. That's the one you got to check out. Previous shows or events or shop. Maybe you want to go to the ABV Network shop. Maybe you want to get some merch, gear. We've got it all at abvnetwork.com. McNew, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I would like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review. That includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. And if you like what we're doing, we ask that you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
All right. Great job today, gang. For our audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Night.
Peace. Before we finish the show, let's talk about some great companies that support the ABV network. First up is Moonshine Still Pro. Moonshine Still Pro has a full line of products to help the home distiller. Whether you want to experiment on the stove in your kitchen or you're looking for a bigger setup in your backyard, owner Russell Creed and his team can help. They have multiple still offerings, accessories, and even grain from their partners at Goldstone Mill to assist you in making whiskey on par with your favorite distillery. They can also help you with some fabricated parts you probably can't make yourself if you are attempting a DIY still project. Learn more or order your still or parts at moonshinestillpro.com. Another friend of ours is the Goldstein family at Goldstone Mill. The Goldsteins offer a variety of heritage and heirloom grains to make the finest whiskeys in the world. Plus, they are more than just a grain company. They are truly consultants to make sure the grains they are providing to you or your business meet your highest expectations. Additionally, they work with mills around the country, ensuring shipping is as low as possible for their customers. If you're a distillery, brewery, or even doing this at home, Goldstone can assist you. Check them out at goldstonemill.com, call them at 217-254-6613, or check in via email at hello@goldstonemill.com.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.